Hey, what's up, everybody? It is GleeCon, and we're here once more with another episode of Lore of Warcraft. Thank you for joining me today. Um, on the last episode, we continued our long play, our completionist attempt to do every single quest in the game with another jaunt into Felwood. We pretty much did all of the Jadenar, all the quests involved in that little place on our Horde character. We've already completed Felwood as Alliance. And then, a few times a week, basically every other episode, we also dive into the lore, the external lore of the game, and chronologically we'll cover in-game lore, or we'll cover lore bits if they're totally canon and novelized things. But there's tons of side stuff that's either like not super important or not vital or only kind of canon, like some magazines or like spin-off Dungeons and Dragons materials or articles or whatever. So I try to cover those too throughout the week as we go. So right now we're going to actually start a journey. This is going to be our next probably 20-ish episodes. We'll find out right now of the lore that we do. There was a Warcraft movie back in the day. I don't remember the exact year it came out. Actually, if we look at the sheet, we can find out when that dropped. Now, timeline-wise, this is the Doom of Draenor. Movie-wise, it looks like 2016, right around there. All right, so the movie, the game came out right around 2015, 2016, so pretty far into the Warcraft timeline, but it all dealt with basically the events of orcs and humans. So Warcraft the movie was basically about that, I guess, and it kind of maybe it touched on it. I can't remember. I own it, but it's been a while since I've watched it because it's kind of a mid movie. They did do a novelization of the movie, which we will eventually read. We will also go through and read the script of that movie together. We're not going to do a full watch together. And the reason why this is showing up on this alternate timeline is that this is definitely not canon. This is considered the film or cinematographic alternate universe. Kind of like the way that Warlords of Draenor is alternate universe, but even less so. Like, nothing that happens in this movie or these books are considered canon. That being said, they were so into it. Chris Metzen wrote this story and was so into it that they even made a prequel story, which into a novel, which is what we're going to read right now. It's called Warcraft Durotan, and it's the novel is the official movie prequel novel. I didn't even know this existed until I started doing my research. So the director of the movie was Duncan Jones. Not super familiar with his work. Chris Metzen is the story writer for probably like the general bones of it. And this is a novel by Christie Golden. So not only is it that, but we're probably into a pretty good novel, considering, in my opinion, Christie Golden is the best. Now, I did hear recently on one of the comments in my videos, someone let me know they're moving on from Christie Golden, and just to get some fresh blood in there. I've read some of the short stories by some of the fresh blood, and they're fine. But in my opinion, she's the gold standard of the Warcraft novels. And she might not be everyone's cup of tea either, and I haven't read any of the newer novels, so she might have totally been surpassed. She might have been burnt out on everything too. It looks like there are 30 chapters in this book, plus a prelude that we're going to do today. It looks like there's no, whatchamacallit, like afterward epilogue, so just 30 chapters plus a prologue. Yeah, we will also eventually, soon, really, not that far away, read the official movie novelization. It's the only other collab, so she will have written that one too, which is cool. This Titan Books. Yeah, this dropped in 2016. This book did, which means I'm guessing it was ballpark, maybe within a year. So at most, maybe the movie came out in 2015, maybe. Okay, and then this book is dedicated to Chris Metzen from Christie Golden, my Blizzard brother, who back in the year 2000 first entrusted me with Durotan and gave me the chance to create Draka. It is a true and then unimaginable honor 15 years on to be able to revisit them and help introduce them to a new audience. I'm wondering, because this was after Warcraft 1, I'm thinking it's that those books that came out, the books of the novelizations of like The Last Guardian and stuff, books we've read on this channel, I think those came out before World of Warcraft did. So I think it's way back when this guy gave Christy Golden a chance. I really think she's crushed it. Sorry, it's my own bias. I've read all of the books up to World of Warcraft dropping, and all of the books that deal with the content. So that includes like War of the Ancients, Day of the Dragon, the 5-part book series by the other guy, Jeff something, who, in my opinion, he's the second best. He's pretty good. That was really released when Dragonflight came out, but it is all retroactively about all of this other stuff. And I might miss some things because the person that does the archives that I look at has stopped doing it. Stopped doing it 3-4 years ago, right around the time the Sylvanas novel dropped. So unless I get like a heads up, hey, this book is dropping and it's about such and such a thing, I'm going to probably miss it. And it is what it is. We'll have to just try to fill in those gaps when we get... That's a problem for way later. I don't think there's tons of content that comes out that's pre-Warcraft so far. So, like ancient history, the way the dragon one was. All right. That was a long preamble. Somebody on one of my novels, I think one of my most popular novel vid series, like tagged all the timelines. It skips me talking. So. Some of you are just here for the book on tape, and I'm glad to serve you. Prologue. The crimson tails steamed in the snow, and Durotan, son of Garad, son of Durkosh, shouted in triumph. This was his first hunt, the first time he had hurled a weapon at a living creature with the intent to kill it, and the blood proved his spear had found its mark. Expecting praise, he turned to his father, his narrow chest swelling with pride, and was confused by the expression on the Frostwolf chieftain's face. Garad shook his head. His long, glossy black hair fell loose and wild about his broad, powerful shoulders. He sat atop his great white wolf, Ice, and his small dark eyes were grim as he spoke. You missed its heart, Durotan. Frostwolves strike true the first time. Disappointment and shame brought hot blood to the young orc's face. I regret that I failed you, father, he stated, sitting up as straight as he could atop his own wolf, Sharptooth. Using his knees and hands and Ice's thick ruff to direct him, Garad brought the beast alongside Sharptooth and regarded his son. You failed to kill with your first blow, he said. You did not fail me. Durotan glanced up at his father, uncertain. My task is to teach you, Durotan, Garad continued. Eventually you will be chieftain, if the spirits will it so, and I would not have you offending them unnecessarily. Garad gestured toward the direction of the blood trail. Dismount and walk with me, and I will explain. Drekthar, you and Wyzier come with us. The rest of you will wait for my summons. Durotan was still ashamed, but also confused and curious. He obeyed his father without question, slipping from Sharptooth's back and giving the huge wolf a pat. Whether the Frostwolves were adopted as mounts because of their color, or whether the clan had named themselves after their snow-hued fur, no one knew. The answer had been swallowed by time. Sharptooth woofed and licked his young master's face. Drekthar was the Frostwolves' elder shaman, an orc who had a close connection with the spirits of earth, air, fire, water, and life. According to Frostwolf lore, the spirits dwelt in the far north, at the edge of the world, in the seat of the spirits. Older than Durotan, but not ancient, Drekthar had been blinded in battle years before Durotan's birth. A wolf ridden by the attacking clan had snapped at Drekthar's face. It was only a partial bite, but it had done enough. A single tooth had punctured one eye, and the other eye lost its vision shortly thereafter. Durotan could still see thin, pale scars snaking out from under the cloth Drekthar always wore to hide his ruined eyes. But if something had been taken from Drekthar, something also had been given. Soon after losing his sight, he had developed extra senses to compensate, perceiving the spirits with keenness unrivaled by the younger shaman he trained. From time to time, the spirits even sent him visions from their seat at the edge of the world, as far north as north could be. Far from helpless, as long as he could ride Wizir, his beloved and well-trained wolf, Drekthar could travel where any other orc could go. Father, son, and shaman pressed through the deep snow following the blood. Durotan had been born in a snowstorm, which was supposed to augur well for a Frostwolf's future. His home was Frostfire Ridge. While the snow sullenly retreated before the brightness of the summer months, it merely bided its time until its inevitable return. No one could say how long the Frostwolf Orc clan had made this inhospitable place their home. They had been here as long as they could remember. Always, one of the older Frostwolves had said simply to Durotan when he was old enough to wonder. But night was coming, and the cold increased. Durotan's dense, warm boots of clefthoof hide struggled to resist saturation, and his feet began to grow numb. The wind picked up, knifing like a dagger through his thick fur cloak. Durotan shivered as he trudged on, waiting for his father to speak, while the blood in the snow stopped steaming and began to freeze. The red trail led over a broad, wind-swept expanse of snow and toward a gray-green smudge of trees clustered at the feet of Greatfather Mountain, the tallest peak in a chain that extended for hundreds of miles to the south. Greatfather Mountain, so the lore scrolls told, was the clan's guardian, stretching its stone arms out to create a protective barrier between Frostfire Ridge and the Southlands. The scent of clean snow and fresh pine filled Durotan's nostrils. The world was silent.
"It is not pleasant, is it, this long walk in the snow?"
Garad said at last. Durotan wondered what the correct response was.
Frostwolf does not complain. No, he does not. But it is still unpleasant.
Garad smiled down at his son, his lips curving around his tusks. Durotan found himself smiling back and nodded slightly, relaxing. Garad reached to touch his son's cloak, fingering the fur.
The Clefthoof is a strong creature. The spirit of life has given him heavy fur, a thick hide, layers of fat below his skin, so he may survive in this land. But when he is injured, he moves too slowly to keep himself warm. He falls behind the herd, so they cannot warm him either. The cold sets in.
Garad pointed to the tracks. Durotan could see that the beast had been stumbling as it moved forward.
He is confused, in pain, frightened. He is but a creature, Durotan. He did not deserve to feel thus, to suffer.
Garad's face hardened.
Some orc clans are cruel. They enjoy tormenting and torturing their prey and their enemies. A Frostwolf takes no joy in suffering, not even in the suffering of our enemies, and certainly not in that of a simple beast which provides us with nourishment.
Durotan felt his cheeks grow hot with another flush of flame, not for himself this time, or because of his poor aim, but because this idea had not occurred to him. His failure to strike true was indeed wrong, but not because it meant he wasn't the best hunter. It was wrong because it had made the Clefthoof suffer needlessly.
"I understand," he said. "I am sorry. Do not apologize to me,"
Garad had said.
"I am not the one who is in pain."
The bloodstains were fresher now, great scarlet puddles in the hollows made by the Clefthoof's erratic gait. They led on past a few lone pines around a cluster of boulders topped with snow. And there they found him. Durotan had wounded a bull calf. It had seemed so enormous to the young orc then, gripped as he had been in the throes of his first true bloodlust. But now Durotan could see that it he was not fully grown. Even so, the calf was as big as any 3 orcs, his thick hide covered with shaggy hair. His breath rose in rapid white puffs, and his tongue lolled between blunt yellow teeth. Small recessed eyes opened as he scented them. He struggled to rise, succeeding only in forcing Durotan's ill-cast spear deeper and churning up slushy red snow. The calf's grunts of agony and defiance made Durotan's gut clench. The young orc knew what he had to do. His father had prepared him for the hunt by describing the inner organs of the cleft hoof and how best to slay it. Durotan did not hesitate. He ran as fast as the snow would permit toward the calf, seized the spear, yanked it out, and drove it directly cleanly into the animal's heart, leaning his full weight on the weapon. The cleft hoof shuddered as he died, relaxing into a limp stillness as fresh hot blood drenched his coat in the snow. Garad had hung back and was joined now by Drekthar. The shaman tilted his head, listening, while Garad looked at Durotan expectantly. Durotan glanced at them, then back at the beast he had slain. Then he looked into his heart, as his father had always taught him, and crouched in the bloody snow beside the beast. He pulled the fur-covered glove from his hand and placed his bare fingers on the calf's side. It was still warm. He felt awkward as he spoke, and hoped the words were acceptable. "Spirit of the cleft hoof, I, Durotan, son of Garad, son of Durkosh, thank you for your life. Your flesh will help my people live through the winter. Your hide and fur will keep us warm. I am grateful." He paused and swallowed. "I am sorry that your last moments were filled with pain and fear. I will be better next time. I will strike as my father has taught me, straight and true." As he spoke, he felt a fresh awareness and appreciation of the cloak's life-saving weight on his back, the feel of the boots on his feet. He looked up at his father and Drekthar. They nodded approvingly. "A frostwolf is a skillful hunter and a mighty warrior," Garad said, "but he is never cruel for sport." "I am a frostwolf," Durotan said proudly. Garad smiled and placed a hand on his son's shoulder. "Yes," he said, "you are." And that's why I just like Christy Golden the best. So you're charged with the task here, as we finish just the prologue. You're given a story, an outline, say, by Chris Metzen. You're given the framework of the movie. And you're really given a charge to just, hey, let's create backstory for Durotan. Let's create that and show his life and how he eventually becomes the person who sires Thrall, but who leads this tribe of orcs, a tribe that stands apart for being a very honorable tribe. And what does she do? She starts that journey with taking him as a child, and she takes a very common tropey kind of story of a young man learning to hunt, and she takes a poignant message out of it. Now, I'm not saying she invented that concept of the reason why, but just taking that and turning it like, this is why you should care. I think it's a cool message, and I think while it might not be 100% original to her, almost nothing is in the world of writing, it is not super common, and it's a pretty cool way to instill what honor is in terms of this tribe, and how you can be so martially skilled and quick to kill, and yet have that bound up in an honor system. It's cool. Also, apologies for the dog in the background. It's that time of day. You never know. If I get a random wild animal in the backyard, like a squirrel or something, she will lose her mind, or like an Amazon delivery drops off or whatever. The little chihuahua loses her mind. So, and this mic will pick it up. So apologies for that, but I hope that you enjoy this. I'm looking forward to taking this journey with you guys. We're just going to do the prologue today, but I will, in just a couple days on Monday, we will kick off and do another episode. Starting Monday, I'll be back in office full time, so our episode release schedule will change a little bit. We'll be back to doing the nighttime releases most days. And but I should hopefully be able to. My goal is to try to maintain the same recording schedule that I have had going the past couple months. Thank you everybody so much. If you like this, check out the rest of the episodes we drop. I'm going to make a playlist for this. Leave some comments if you have any improvements or suggestions or anything like that. Subscribe. Check out my Patreon if you want to get the same treatment. I do the same service for Assassin's Creed on the Patreon. If you're interested in having me put that, if you don't like going to Patreon and you'd like to see me put it on like a YouTube membership thing, I'm thinking about migrating everything over to just keep it all on YouTube. Thank you again for this experience with me. And this episode's in the pipe. 5 by 5.